Mavs lose 97-98. Josh Green, big night. Luka Doncic, just 22 points. Bones Highland, big night. This game sucked, but we're going to let out some frustration and then just see what the heck happened. On today's Locked On Mavs.
Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Hey, Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Welcome to Locked On Mavs. This is one of your co-hosts, Isaac Harris, contributor at Mavs.com. Studio 41 for the Mavs. The Freak, the Corner 3, whatever you want to list as something I contribute to. I don't have a fun name today given to me by Nick because Nick is traveling to be with family this week. So you're going to be hanging out with me this week. Maybe some friends as we cover the Mavs this Thanksgiving week. But today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That's prizepicks.com, promo code Locked On. Whew! Frustrating loss. There's no other way around it. I think maybe in this first segment, we can just like let out all the frustrations together. And then we can kind of just walk through the game a little bit of kind of what went wrong. Got to make sure we can talk today. Speaking of that, if you're watching on YouTube, you know the drill. Leave something below. Leave anything below. But actually, the comment section's always popping off after losses because we just all want to air out all of our frustrations and blame everybody. How do we slice in the blame pie today? Who we handing out since it's Thanksgiving week? You baking a blame pie in the oven, a pumpkin pie? Who's getting the biggest piece of the pie right now? Is it the coaching staff? Jason Kidd and them kind of took credit. Not really credit, I guess. Took blame after the game that it's up to him and the coaching staff to have them better prepared. Is it the front office? Is it the players? Is it a certain player? Who are you giving the biggest piece of the pie right now? Leave it in the comments below. Who are you putting the most blame on this game? Because man, it was frustrating. So frustrating. Like let's just go through the frustrating things. Let's just get it off our chest. Let's just do this. Let's just throw out some things together that you're frustrated about. Let's just start right off the top with what the heck happened at halftime? Because they're like, hey, Luka hits the shimmy 3-pointer at the buzzer. And your height, he's celebrating. He runs through the locker room. You're like, let's do this. It's exciting. Then Tim McMahon tweets during the game. It's like, hey, actually, they reviewed it. Psych. It's coming back. They're not counting it because he stepped out of bounds. Now, I feel like he still didn't even step out, but, who cares? I'm just a normal little dude over here. Comes back and they're like, hey, they're going to replay the end of the second quarter, the last 2 seconds. And Denver's going to get the ball around like half court, play the 2 seconds, and then bam, we're just going to start the third quarter. They come out at halftime. Denver runs. They run the play. Conchar hits the three, the 50-foot, I don't know, half court shot, whatever it is. They go nuts. And I'm just sitting there saying, of course that would happen. One of the craziest plays this season because you know what? It's the Mavs. This is what it feels like to watch the Mavs play basketball, especially this year. And I'm like, it's inevitable that the Mavs, like they're like destined to lose this game, right? And Nick is texting me right now as I'm recording this pod. I'm about to just call him and be like, get on the pod. You should have to do a pod with me after a dumb game like this. But you know what? I was like, are they destined to lose this game? And they almost felt like they were. But the most frustrating thing about this loss is we lost another freaking game whenever the other team doesn't have their best players. Not only their best player, but their second best player too. It's like literally they're down to their bones. Like it's just Bones Highland. Sorry, I had to get a dad joke in there. That's just all they're down to. And Bones went off tonight for 29 points. And Bones was a -12 in this game. He had 29. They won. So however you feel about freaking plus minus stats. So that was frustrating. Another thing that was just confusing, Christian Wood, 17 minutes. My guy was super bummed in the second half. I was texting some people about it, and especially the fourth quarter. I mean, Jason Kidd literally played Davis Bertans over Christian Wood. So I don't know how you feel about that. I know how some of you feel about Christian Wood, which is very high. But Bertans hit 4 threes in this game. He had a stretch there where he was pretty hot, and Christian Wood took his second shot of the game with 3:40 left in the third quarter. And I'm like, he had one shot attempt at halftime. He ended up playing 17 minutes in this game. He had 5 points, just never found a groove. It wasn't foul trouble. How many fouls did he have tonight? He had 1 foul. So was not foul trouble. 7 boards, just they clearly just have a different view of what Christian Wood's role is than I think a lot of the fan base. And, I think I'm split down the middle on it. Yeah, I'm not even gonna get into the Christian Wood conversation right now. Tim Hardaway having the ultimate green light of green lights. He missed pretty much every shot he took tonight outside of his 2 free throws, but 0 for 9 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3. He's just chucking. All right. It's like, I got this. It is Timmy time. Just making sure there's no breaking news on my phone as I'm recording this. Because this type of pod you get from me when Nick's out, it's, we're just going to chill and hang out. We're going to talk about this game. And I'm going to feel like I'm just talking to somebody on the phone a little bit. Got to have some ads. Dads do the ads all week. Let's go. So this should be a little fun here. But, that was frustrating. What was not frustrating? Josh Green. I'll talk about Josh Green later because that was an awesome point of the game. All game. I'm going to be honest right now. What was really frustrating is how many times Luka Doncic is going to fall on the ground and then just stand there or sit there. My bad, not stand. Just sit there on the ground and look at the ref. We got to get my guy up on the floor, standing up and running back down the floor. I get it. He gets fouled. They don't call it every time, but he's got to stand up and run back and help his team play defense. There you go. Just speaking truth right now. Sorry if you can't hear anything. Criticizing Luka, might need to turn the pot off. But trying to think of anything else. Obviously Reggie didn't have a good game. Reggie was a -25 in 25 minutes. 1 of 5 from the field. The only shot he hit was a 3-pointer. Him and Dorian both, their 3-point shot attempts were down. Only 9 attempts combined. When what was 2 games ago, Dorian shot 13 threes on his own. They only hit 2 threes combined tonight as a duo. So kind of frustrating. But you know what? That is kind of part of, yeah. All right. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back talking the Mavs. This podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. I don't know about you guys, but those valley moments in life, even sometimes those mountaintop moments in life, the ones that define who you are, that you look back on life and say, man, that was one of the defining moments of my life. I wish I had help through those moments. I wish I had some guidance. I wish sometimes, as BetterHelp likes to say, I wish I had a manual to help get me through some of those moments. And that's where BetterHelp comes into play. Unfortunately, life doesn't come with that user manual. So when it's not working for you, it's normal to feel stuck. Navigating any of life's challenges can make you feel unsure, whether it's a career change, new relationship, or becoming a parent. Therapists are trained to help you figure out the cause of challenging emotions and learn productive coping skills, which makes therapy the closest thing to a guided tour of the complex engine called you. That's a great analogy. Just fill out a brief questionnaire, match with a therapist. If things aren't clicking, you can easily switch to a new therapist anytime. It couldn't be simpler. No waiting rooms, no traffic, no endless searching for the right therapist. Go to betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. That's betterhelp.com/lockedonnba patreon.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, I'm back. Let's talk about some good stuff. All right. Aired out some frustrations there in the first segment. Just got it all off our chest. And let's talk about some good stuff. Josh Green, literally a career night for Josh Green. Plays 30 minutes in this game off the bench, 8 of 9 from the field, 6 of 7, 6 threes in this game from Josh Green. Let's go. This is what we've been wanting. This has been the key to Josh Green's, literally his career, is he had that like clunky, slow, however you wanted to define his three-point shot over the first few years of his career. That's what it was. All right. And then here we are now. It looks so he's so confident. It looks so smooth. He even had 1-3 tonight where he looked like a JJ Redick coming off a screen. I'm like, what are you? You're shooting an off-balance sideways three. He's getting great elevation on it now, which, before, go back and look at some of his, his three-pointers before. They almost look like a smaller, like set shot type of thing. Wasn't a full set shot, but he didn't get, that much air on his threes. It feels like he's jumping higher in those threes now. It just looks so much smoother, and he has 6 of those tonight. That is huge for this team. Chris Herring tweeted out during the game, great basketball follow on NBA Twitter, about just how key for this Mavericks team is, if Josh Green can become a reliable shooter. And it feels like this season, he, so far we're under 15 games here, but it feels like he is taking that step, right? It feels like we're right at 15 games, I think. It feels like he has taken that step as an outside shooter. That all the talk we heard about over the offseason, but I'm working on a shot, busting his butt, MVP of the offseason, and it feels like it's coming to fruition now. He's bearing the fruit. All right, let's do it. Can we do a sermon analogy? We should do it. But no, 6 threes tonight for Josh Green, 23 points, career high for him. He's plus 13 off the bench, and it really, these rotations for Dallas, they're kind of based off having the 2 scores off the bench, Tim Hardaway, Christian Wood. And tonight they had their 2 scores off the bench, but it was not those guys. It's like, how in the world did this happen? It was Dallas Bertans, who hit 4 threes of his own. Josh Green, Dallas Bertans come out for 10 threes in this game. Pretty crazy. It's kind of depressing when you look at it and say, all right, well, other Mavericks only hit 5 threes. So 15 of 42 from the three-point line for the Mavs tonight as a team, and Bertans, Josh Green hit 10 of those. So awesome. Bertans had 15 points. Really, at times, it felt like Josh Green and Bertans was just carrying the team. Like, all right, cool. Can anybody else do anything? The other 2 guys off the bench, even though I said I was going to keep this positive, Tim Hardaway, Christian Wood. Tim Hardaway, like I said earlier, didn't hit a shot. Christian Wood hit 2 shots in this game. So Hardaway and Christian Wood were combined 2 of 12 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. Christian Wood obviously didn't take a 3 in this game. Combined 7 points between the 2 of them. That sucks. Not very good, right? And I found it really interesting. So, JaVale plays 10 minutes in this game. Obviously, Maxi's still out with the his back injury there, but JaVale plays 10 minutes. Dallas Bertans plays 14 minutes. Christian Wood plays 17 minutes. Dwight Powell plays 20 minutes. We didn't see a lot of Christian Wood late. Even in the second half, I'm clicking on the second half minutes here just to make sure I got it right. Christian Wood in the second half played 7 minutes. Christian Wood in the fourth quarter played 1 minute and 51 seconds. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, especially, I was watching in that game. You know what I was telling myself? I'm like, man, Jason Kidd really needs to win this game because if not, you lose to this Nuggets team without Jokic, without Jamal Murray, without Aaron Gordon too, and you're not playing Christian Wood late, who is probably your second best scorer on the team outside of Luka. I would put Dinwiddie right there with him. It's just tough. It's tough for the fans to see that and say, all right, why, how are we losing this game if, Christian Wood's not on the floor? I'll talk about Dinwiddie's injury in a little bit, but, they lost the third quarter again. They only put up 18 points there in the third quarter. Denver put up 24. I don't have the stats in front of me about how many third quarters they've lost this year, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's been a decent amount. All right. So I know this is the 5th time that they've played a team, fifth loss in which, these teams are missing their best players. And I love how I said at the beginning of the segment, this is going to be like um, an encouraging part. Let's talk about the positives, but here we are. I don't know if we want to put this on coaching or not. I don't know where you feel on that when we talk about the pieces of blame pie that I was talking about earlier. But you know, how how do you describe the all right? Is it a players thing? Is it a coaches thing about the not being able to get up for the teams missing their best players? It just feels like there's not that sense of urgency, or there's a different game plan. We got to figure that out. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is to that. It just feels like one of those things where, all right, it's more than missing shots, right? It's more than, hey, we're just not getting the shots to go down. Feels like there's a little bit more to it, and it's just another one of those games in which that happens. So, yeah, that was frustrating, but it was good to see that from Josh Green. It's good to see that from Bertans. We haven't seen Davis very much this year, so to see that he can still shoot the lights out and be the Latvian laser and have some fun moments there. It was almost for Denver. They're almost just dying on the vine there of, hey, we're just going to keep doubling Luka, all right? I mean, from the top, they were doubling Luka and saying, hey, we're just going to put you. We're going to dare your teammates to beat you. We've seen a lot of other teams start to do that at the end of the games in these fourth quarters. And Denver said, kind of from the start, we're going to do this early on and dare the other guys to beat us. And they won out on that, right? Like, I mean, even to I was laughing because when Bertans was hitting a couple threes there, they were still doubling Luka and just leaving Bertans open. I'm like, all right, they don't give a crap. They're just like, we'll play the odds, And eventually Bertans missed that three. If he would have hit that last heat check three, y'all know the one I'm talking about, I think they would just have to call timeout because the Mavs bench was going nuts. Like Tim and Theo were already near the like scores table, and Tim was probably like, "Hey, can I shoot the ball?" And that's it would have been a fun moment if he hit the three, but he didn't. He did hit 4 threes in this game, but honestly, is it bad if I say that's the only like positive from this game? Because when you look at the other stuff, you're like, you just start to get more frustrated because I mean, these are the starters for the Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr., which I don't know how I feel about him. I mean, he's supposed to be like another star for them in the making, and I'm not impressed right now. And Jeff Green played 5 minutes in this game, and he hurt his leg going up for a dunk. DeAndre Jordan is like 98 years old, and he pulled down 17 rebounds in this game. So that was cool. KCP played 38 minutes in this game. Bruce Brown, Bones Highland, I'll talk about him in a second. I thought Christian Brown played some good minutes. Zeke Nashi, shout out to him talking some smack to Luka. I'm like, Nashi, I don't know if I want to be that guy talking smack to Luka. And obviously Conchar and all of that, but they just didn't have an answer for Bones. Like they had zero answer for Bones Highland, and that's the frustrating part. If you're a Denver Nuggets fan tonight, man, how much are you loving this win? You're loving this win, loving seeing Bones do his thing. But for Dallas, I mean, they had no answer for him, especially in the second half. He had 21 of his 29 points in the second half. I'll hit all 6 of his free throws. 3 of 5 from 3 in the second half. And it's like, can we figure this crap out? Like, can we figure out how to defend him? Let's go back and look at some of the other things about the game though. Going into, I was pretty hyped about it. This is why you don't count your chickens before they hatch. I guess I'm saying that right. I don't have Nick to check me on my sayings. I'm sure y'all will in the comments, but I was already like, hey, this is going to be awesome. Beating the Nuggets twice. It's probably going to be a team that we're going to be fighting with in the standings at the end of the year. To have these 2 wins over them, that's awesome. Yeah, that's why you don't count. This is why you don't predict the schedules. That's why you don't do the blog post. Hey, predicting. Coming up next, we're going to predict wins or losses for the next 10 games for the Mavericks and tell you how the Mavericks are going to be 7-3 coming up. No, don't do that. Don't do that. You'll never know, because this game right here, another proof once again that you can never count a victory before it's victory. Luka, it was tough for him tonight because once again he was arguing a lot with the refs. thought he was getting fouled. He did get fouled multiple times that they didn't call it. This is just one of those games where I found myself getting a little bit more frustrated with him a little bit of like, all right, we gotta kind of wrap the winding up and let's just get down the floor and just play bully ball and take it right back at Bruce Brown. Just get in the post, do your thing. And he picked up 2 fouls in the first quarter. I also want to give a little bit of credit to Denver too, because they got the crap blown out of them the other night in Dallas, 2 nights ago, and they had a whole different energy. They had a whole different vibe about them of, hey, we're a professional basketball team too, so we don't want to lose this game, and we don't get blown out again. We have some pride. So yeah. So for them, they just had a whole different vibe about them. They tried harder. Felt like they were just on a string kind of at times. Dallas didn't hit, neither one of the teams hit 100 points in this game. But this podcast is also brought to you by Prize Picks. Now, Prize Picks is one of our friends. We talk about them all the time. You know what Prize Picks is? What do you love about fantasy basketball? Do you love the typical games format? Do some of y'all play in leagues? Because I tried it, didn't work out for me. And I'm like, all right, I can't do fantasy basketball, even though I watch more NBA than anything in my life. I was like, hey, I need something easier to play. This is where Prize Picks comes into play. Pick 2 to 6 players, and if they go score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money. That's kind of a lot on any entry. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch, includes NBA, NFL. Pretty much, I'm not going to list off all of these because pretty much anything you want to put money down on in Prize Picks, they got it. Download Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On to sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com. They forced the Mavs to go zone. I know Jason Kidd not too long ago joked that, hey, like about them going zone because they can't guard anybody on the perimeter. It's just frustrating, right? Like you're playing a team without, Jokic, Murray, Aaron Gordon, and all right, we got to play zone. And yeah, I'm just going to leave that alone. Talked about the halftime thing. Talked about Christian Wood's shot thing. Honestly, I'm just going through my notes here. Dinwiddie's injury, man, I got really worried for a second because it was weird because he was like holding his like upper arm, but it wasn't in the collarbone area. Immediately he's grabbing his arm like, all right, did you dislocate it? Did what's happening? He was in a lot of pain. I'm instantly thinking about him like, dude, this is going to suck for him because, he's went through so much injury stuff. If it's a long-term injury, then I was thinking about the team. Like we literally have nobody else that can play point guard unless you have a Facu, poster on your wall. So I was really bummed. He addressed the media after game and saw some quotes and stuff coming out about that they popped his shoulder back in place. He downplayed it and all of that. So they got a couple days off before Boston, right there before Thanksgiving. Got a little travel in there, so hopefully it's enough time for him to be healthy and good to go. But yeah, that's kind of scary. He wasn't in there those the last play there, and yeah, that was a big bummer. And they couldn't defend, late. Denver, obviously Michael Porter Jr. hit his only 3 of the game, super late in this game. It was a huge bucket for them. And Dallas, there was some confusion late because Luka gets the rebound on one of those shots, but he takes a dribble. So then there's this whole thing of like when they take the ball and all this stuff. He gets the ball, then he gets fouled by Bruce Brown, but it's like the delayed foul. And I get why they're frustrated because they're like, hey, we need a couple more seconds. And they should have had a couple more seconds, but the ref was so delayed when he called the foul that they didn't give the seconds back. Bruce Brown tries to do the not take foul, tries to foul him on purpose, kind of at the top of the key to kind of just break the rhythm of the play there because they had a foul to give. And he fouls him with like 5-7 seconds left. But Luka takes another dribble 2, gets into the paint, and it's like, then they blow the whistle and say, oh, no, Bruce Brown fouled him. Well, the problem is it got down to 3 seconds, and that's when he blew the whistle for a foul that took place 2 seconds ago, but they didn't put the 2 seconds back on the clock. Therefore, Dallas only had 3 seconds. Luka had to shoot this bomb three at the buzzer. Looked good, honestly. Rimmed out. Then obviously him, Cuban, everybody was complaining about they should have 2 more seconds on the clock for Luka to do a couple more dribbles and take a 30-foot shot again. So, or actually, he probably would have been doubled, and it would have been Dorian or Reggie or somebody else taking a 3, and it could have been different. I don't know. Those 2 seconds would have helped, though. So, yeah, just a frustrating loss. They had no reason to lose in this game. No reason. They should not have lost it. These are the losses that come back to haunt you sometimes. They looking back at the end of the season saying, dang, how do we lose to this team without this player? How do we lose to the and this is, I think this is one of the worst ones. That not the Rockets, no, the Rockets, whatever. But at least for this one, you had basically your whole team, right? Like at least for this one, Luka played. And they were missing 3 players: Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. If you don't remember me listing off those players. But yeah, now Dallas has a few days left before the last game before Thanksgiving. Obviously, they'll travel to Boston coming up. Boston, literally, I mean, if not the best team, one of the best teams in the league. And be really curious to see how they bounce back from that. I want to see some rotation stuff in this game. I mean, coming out of this game, where are they at with Christian Wood? Like, what does that look like? How long do they wait for Reggie Bullock to come back to his normal self? I am continuing to preach patience with that. Josh Green playing so well is such a good thing for this team. So I hate that that's getting overshadowed a little bit, but they got to figure out that. They got to figure out if Dinwiddie can't go for this Boston game, where are they going to get their playmaking from? Who else is going to handle the ball? I'm sure they'll figure that out. But yeah, you get me tomorrow. I'm really curious what we're going to talk about tomorrow. I'll ask the intern what we should talk about tomorrow. But yeah, as I said, Nick's out this week, so we get to party. See if we can bring some friends on, and yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about some trades because you know what? It's Black Friday on Friday. Everybody's just shopping for those good deals. So I think we're going to do a pod sometime in the next few days of the best bargain trade possibilities around the league because y'all know I love trades. So you get me on a pod even without Nick. I'm just going to go like trade nuts. So I'm just going to start posting random trades. But thanks for hanging in there after a loss. It's been good. Let's do this again tomorrow. Peace out. Boom.